Good afternoon, ma'am. We have a few questions for you. Shall we go? Okay. What are your views on Budget 2025 when it comes to the MSME sector and anything you feel that has been missed in this budget?
I think there were three announcements that had to do with MSME. One was in terms of the change in definition; they've increased the allocations. I think in that sense. Apart from that, I think the credit card was a fantastic idea. I think it will give a lot of flexibility as far as MSMEs are concerned, and a lot more easy in terms of accessing credit. And the third, of course, is with regard to the expanding the credit guarantee, and I think that would be also fantastic because that will again open up a line of credit for MSMEs, particularly for unsecured loans, because banks and will be more willing to lend to them in an unsecured manner if the loan is guaranteed. So I think that will add a lot of value as far as MSMEs are concerned.
Apart from delayed payments and debt issues, what are the biggest challenges MSMEs face today and how can the government overcome it?
I think in terms of challenges that MSMEs face today, credit always is an issue. And I think even with credit, it depends on what type of MSME you are. So MSME, as you know, is still divided into micro, small and medium. And within micro, you also have what are I think now called nano enterprises or own account enterprises. So the smaller of the small. And I think credit has been an issue largely because of the fact that unsecured lending is still slightly problematic on the fear of NPAs. And the smallest of small businesses sometimes don't attract as much credit as maybe the medium enterprises do. So even from banks which may have a target as part of priority sector lending would prefer lending to the medium businesses because this paperwork's more robust probably, and therefore credit may not flow as easily to the smaller businesses which don't have ready collateral or who are not formalized their paperwork as well. So I think that continues to be a challenge. So we need to look at products which will suit smaller businesses.
The budget includes provisions for green initiatives, and but long-term incentives for MSMEs to adopt sustainable practices are still limited. So, what strategies can small businesses adopt to scale sustainability while managing costs?
I think this is a very interesting question because I think more than a push factor from the government, it's going to be a pull factor. Today, consumers are demanding sustainable products. They want services that are done in a sustainable manner. They want green products, and they are kind of almost insisting on it, and it is also becoming a choice. So they prefer buying from businesses that are sustainable. So I think MSMEs, even though there is no regulatory requirement of them now, keeping in mind consumer choice, keeping in mind what is required and keeping in mind what is good for the business should start adopting sustainable practices now. It can be something as basic as printing on both sides of the paper instead of one. It can be something as small as that. It can be something as maybe a little more green cover in their offices. So I'm not asking for big sweeping changes, but even such small things. It can be about how you're dealing with the waste that you have. In fact, for smaller businesses, waste management may be far easier than the big guys. So small steps like this, if they start doing, it will get into their ethos faster. So that when it becomes maybe a regulatory requirement, which it will eventually, the adaptation will be easier for them.
One last question. One quick advice for the young entrepreneurs who are planning on to join the industry.
I think for entrepreneurs, it's always about grit and it's about, perseverance. So I think that's what it is. I think as a country, we've been, at least in the last couple of years, a lot of focus has been given to entrepreneurship. There is the entire thing of be employment generators rather than an employee in that sense. So I think that's what needs to be done. And I think every entrepreneur today should realize at the end of the day that whatever they're doing, they should put the consumer first. And that's not just from a moral point of view, but it's also an excellent business sense. Because at the end of the day, every entrepreneur knows cost of acquisition of a consumer is very high, but retaining is much less. So if they actually acquire a customer and manage to retain them and build what one calls as generational relationships, I think that works in favor of everybody. It's a win-win situation. That would be my advice.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time. Thank you.